Hi, I'm Nancy Salvato. I am the president of Basics Project and the director of Constitutional Literacy, and I'm very happy to join you tonight. I'm sorry I can't be there, but I do have a few words to speak for Eddie and for his family and everybody who's in attendance tonight. I want to begin by saying that James Madison warned that there are more instances of the abridgment of the freedom of the people by gradual and silent encroachments by those in power than by violent and sudden usurpations. What did James Madison mean by this? While we have soldiers defending our country against other people who would like to put them in harm's way, we also are fighting a silent battle here in our own country by what we would coin domestic enemies. One way this is happening is through something that George Orwell coined newspeak back in his novel called 1984. What's happening is there's been a subtle but deliberate change in the vocabulary around our Constitution. For example, I'm sure many of you remember that the Obama administration was using freedom of worship as opposed to freedom of religion. There's a big difference between freedom of worship and freedom of religion, and in one way, you have less freedom with freedom of worship. Freedom of religion encompasses much more than just freedom of worship. Another way that this is happening is by delegitimizing anybody who does not go along with the progressive agenda, people who defend our inalienable rights. People who might belong to the Tea Party, they are delegitimized by being called extremists or teabaggers. They're called mean-spirited and hated. Somebody who wants to protect the unborn is considered anti-woman. So the question I would have to ask is, would James Madison be turning over, if he understood that today people were calling our country a democracy and not a republic? Well, I'm not sure he would. I think James Madison understood politics very well. As a matter of fact, the moniker Federalists would have been better suited to those considered anti-Federalists. The people that took the moniker Federalists were for a nationalist government, more nationalist government, and the people who had the moniker anti-Federalists were actually trying to protect a more federalist type of government. But that moniker was important because words matter, and they even understood this back when the country was founded. Soldiers like Eddie took an oath to support and defend our country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I believe that as citizens of this country, we need to take that very same oath against our domestic enemies. The last thing we want is a democracy. Because in a democracy, what happens is we have man-made law. We don't have inalienable rights that are defended by our Constitution. We have man-made law, and we have majoritarian rights. We want to make sure that we have our inalienable rights. I want to end by saying that the liberties of a nation can only be secured by citizens of firm conviction who understand the rights and liberties and will actively defend them.